float. And they test it out through the experiment. And they can see whether their guess was right or not. Right? So that's an example, and that's the direction we like to move into. But this is the direction, but we want you to make sure that it's not creating another level of frustration. If you don't do it well, it might create frustration. When people hear that we go to do CLIO, Content and Language Integration, a lot of people will say, our kids don't have the language for that. Of course, you don't want to start this lesson by saying, we're going to talk about density. We're going to talk about mass and weight. No, you don't want to do that. You want to start with this and then say, but why? Why a plastic spoon will float and metal spoon will sink? And then you gradually talk about comparing their weight, right? And weight is our colloquial language. The technical word is mass. So you want to gradually go from your daily language, weight, to the technical language, mass. Same thing with volume, size to volume, right? So you have to have these different steps. That's what CLIO is about. Content and language, but you do it gradually. Right? And if this lesson is something they have already learned in their science class, then it will be very easy. Because you are adding the language to the concept. And the concept they already have. But they're learning it through English. You're going to say something?
Well, I guess I'm curious, what would be the incentive for the Taiwanese teachers to do this in class? I guess I ask because, like, in the area that I'm in, where many of us will teach in rural districts, and so we might have teachers that we will work with, so teachers that are not comfortable being using their English or being models with English, and which is something I try to stress to my teachers, the teachers that I work with, I should say, and just tell them, like, this is an opportunity for you to show the students how they can be. And I understand maybe it's not putting you in a great position or a position you're totally comfortable with, but from the student's perspective, it makes sense too, because it's an opportunity to show them, like, this is how we get beyond our discomfort now. But so I'm curious, like, and it sounds like you're taking it a step further, so I'm almost curious, it's a bit of a culture change for them.
Right. Right. I'm taking it a step further because this is the future of the curriculum. This is 12-year basic education, which will be implemented next year, right? But we have to prepare teachers for that. We have to get teachers ready for that. This idea won't be implemented across the board right away, but gradually we're hoping that some teachers will be able to share lessons so other teachers know that English is a language, a tool for learning something, rather than a subject of study in itself. We have, in the language art class, we have treated English as a subject of study, so you care about floated, sank, not sinked, right? You care about the accuracy of the language, spelling, it has to be S-I-N-K, not S-E-N-K, but if you are using it as a tool to learn information, the concept is more important than the language itself. Whether you say synced or sank, it's not that important. I'm not saying we should allow this kind of problems to happen, but the focus is not on sink and sank. Yes?
I'm not sure if this is the way, but you can tell me. Learning through inference. So things were not explicitly taught. The context was what it was, the experiment. Words are going to be recycled. And the mind is just, our minds are already programmed. I mean, they're just always going to learn. It's going to pick up, it's going to infer something when it's heard over and over again in a context. So it's not being directly taught.
help some struggling English learners. They're struggling probably because they cannot spell S-I-N-K. But when they see this, they will be able to say sink, float, right? And they learn the word. But if you test them on spelling, they might fail. But if you test them on, is that sink or float, with this sink or float, they might pass. So this is just another way to look at English as a tool to learn something.
When I went through, we were talking about learning Chinese at our table lunch, and so I took a year off and went to Taiwan, got back, and seen all of that. That's too hard. And I think I was a little too young in my Chinese to take advantage of it. I think I could there's one now, but the teacher one-on-one never ever once told me how to say, for example, in Chinese. But in the context of giving me examples of teacher, for example, yes. So there was just a simple, my mind just had to pick up the pattern. I mean, this is much more complicated.
You're thinking, because you have to figure out what it means. Because the teacher did not give you the Chinese meaning of the word. You have to figure it out yourself. So you're active.
It was almost impossible for my mind not to pick it up.
Right,
We
right,
on that.
right. Exactly. And it's repetition, but repetition in a meaningful
meaningful
context.
context.
Rather than read after me, sing, read after me, sing, say. That's meaningless.
Getting goosebumps.
Right, it's mechanical. And this is really meaningful, right? But you have to do it slowly. You have to make sure your language is at students' right level. Like I said, you don't want to start with, we're going to talk about flotation or buoyancy or density. You don't want to start with that. If we didn't go through this lesson, when I think of teaching science in English, I think of technical terms. But now I know you don't start with technical terms. You start with concepts. And you can get lots of videos, visuals. We're just lucky at this time of learning. The technology has progressed that we can easily find everything we want. You can go through Khan Academy. You can go through crash courses. There are lots of things like English teachers always say, but I don't know. I know nothing about natural science. How can I teach that? Well, there are resources that you can learn, and you can learn one thing at a time, right? So we're going to encourage teachers to cross the disciplinary boundaries. So cross-discipline is important. Work with teachers from other disciplines. Don't just hang out with English teachers. Go to science teachers meetings, go to social science meetings, go to art teachers group, club, etc. So, and we would always tell teachers, start with a field that you feel comfortable with. If you don't feel comfortable with natural science, start with social science. Start with art. Start with music, PE. Start with something you think you're good at. You can develop your second expertise and teach that in English. The schools we're going to probably haven't entered into this stage yet, but there are a lot of schools in Taipei, New Taipei, Tainan, and bigger cities. They're already talking about it. We had a workshop on Clio yesterday, and teachers, it's a limited by invitation workshop because we only want to have 30 people, so it will be small. But we heard voices from other cities and counties to say, well, why don't you let our teachers participate? There's a need, but we want to start with small. We don't want to have a 100 people lecture and workshop. We want to start with a small group of core people who know the concept clearly, well enough, so that they can develop lessons and they can share their lessons with other people. Now, you can be this kind of teachers, and you can help your co-teachers see the need. Yes?
Can I just say for this, I'm very excited for what you're saying.
Thank you.
And I'm going to be explaining and taking the people to step-by-step approach.
Okay.
I want you to know that CLIL is really now, and it's something we cannot ignore. It might seem a bit foreign to us because it's not something we're familiar with, but really it's an exciting approach. And it makes your teaching so much more fun, and the students are going to benefit so much more from it as well. That's all I'm going to say. I'll tell you further on Thursday.
I can give you a little bit of background. CLIL started in Europe. And in America, those of you who have taken SOA, we will probably call SOA or TEFL methodology courses, we'll call it content-based instruction. Teaching across the curriculum, yes, yes, or content-based. And the content was science. The content was float or sink. The content-based approach. But in Europe, they call it CLIL, and there is a focus on both content and language. So the teachers need to teach language while they are teaching content. When you talk about this, when it gets more complicated, you want students to describe why a plastic spoon will float and metal spoon will sink. You will teach them about it sank because its density is higher or lower. You will teach that language template so they can all explain the phenomenon rather than just say a key will sink, a ball will float. Next stage is to talk about why. That's the technical language, and you will provide the template.
So, some of this, and it's not that, it almost seems like in this group, we would be actually Taiwanese English teachers, and you're encouraging us to bring English into the content in a very normal, way, and that's fair. But now we're the English teachers, though, and we're using, so
Yes.
so reverse, and you're saying, are you saying that, you said getting this to your other teachers, finding the content of their class and bringing that into our English classes, or trying, is that his thing?
Okay, no, I'm saying you have to work your school. Your school is ready for this. You will do this. I don't want to give you pressure by saying you all have to teach science in your English class, because sometimes people will say, I'm very poor in science or math, I can't do that. I'm saying this is the direction, and we all need to see how we can move into this direction. You need to prepare yourself to get ready. You need to wait till your students are ready, your school is ready.
No, and when I was saying that, I was trying to speak around a promise, a future promise, because if you don't have what's on the script, there ought to be a S and 5 others, right? So if I'm aware of what the science teacher is teaching, and I see chapter 2 has certain verbiage, it's not that hard to bring it together. That's what I meant.
Yes.
So it's taking her.
Right. If you're doing science and English integration, you want to make sure what science topic to teach. You want to look at their science curriculum and say, they talk about water, they talk about this. Okay, I'll try to see how I can incorporate it into my class. And that is usually when you have your extra school-based curriculum. So we still need to keep language art, that 1 40-minute session per week. But when you have your school-based curriculum, the schools agree that you will do English and science or English or geography, English or art, that 1 40-minute session, you can do this. We're not saying language art. The language subject is not important. It is important, but we need to have another thing to use English to learn the concept. Okay, so is that clear?
It's clear. So I say that in your guys' mind, in 20 years, you want this whole country to move to a private system. Sounds like it.
Well, it has been in the agenda since 2000, right? You see a lot of the president, the prime minister, the premier, they all want that to happen, but it hasn't happened yet, right? So I think we see that English language is a tool for communication, so we want to open another channel for English language, not just limited to a subject in class. But again, this has to be done gradually, right? Slowly. Okay, I hope I didn't scare you or intimidate you for this new direction, but that's the new direction. Alright, so the conclusion. English is very important, and people in Taiwan are really crazy about learning English, and there are problems, and we have great responsibilities. You and I, we all have great responsibilities to shoulder, and we hope that our students will be able to learn English happily, willingly, and be able to use it for real purposes. Questions? I think we have 10 minutes left, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm telling myself, but I do really have a genuine philosophical basis for some things that I've done. As I'm learning Chinese, I would take some class time to bring it in there. One, starting with English, let them see me struggle with their language, and let them have to have it. Close the gap between, it's an ocean between us and America, right, or us and South Africa, but to bring that, I want my students to, and I would ask how to say this in Chinese, or how do you say this in Chinese, I say this in English. And so I'm thinking, as a psychologist at the moment, that I'm just getting them to see English and Chinese as like brother or sister or cousins, or, I mean, is that,
Okay, your principals or co-teachers probably don't want to see you use a lot of Chinese in class, but yeah, a little bit. And also, this will be a good language exchange program. You can tell some of your students, I'm willing to spend half an hour on a certain day to do language exchange. You teach me Chinese or Taiwanese, and I'll teach you English.
Children are so ruthless, man. They're real ruthless. I get frustrated.
You know, they might. If you say, I'll be in this room from this hour to this hour, and if you want to come teach me one Chinese expression or Taiwanese expression, feel free, and I'll teach you in return the English expression. So they might have the motivation to come and talk to you. I want to teach you this in my language. And then in return, you will give them the English. The next time they come, you will say, I'll give you the words you gave me, and you'll say it in English. Something like that. So that's another creative project to motivate students. Yeah, yes. Okay, anything else? Yes?
Earlier, we were talking about a little bit about the junior high K-12. And I'm just curious, do you have any tips or suggestions for the junior high teachers on how to incorporate CLIL into kind of preparing them for the K-12 as well?
Okay, so the Wake-up topics, the article, there are different topics. I wouldn't say that's for CLIL. Their topic goes from, well, the best thing to prepare your student for the entrance exam to senior high is to give them lots of articles to read. Articles on different topics. The textbook seems to focus on, I say, babyish topics. We need to give them topics that are of concern. We talk about engagement, right? And social interaction, social engagement. You can give them articles about how there was one article on Huikao about water and girls. Girls can go to school in Africa and Tanzania because they have to get water, and it takes so long for them to get water and come back. They don't have time to go to school. Now, we don't have that kind